is the cover video for my ABCs of Art journaling. I started this by covering everything in the mesh drywall tape. That's something that everyone seems to be able to find. The circle drywall tape people are having a hard time finding. The only place I've seen the circle drywall tape is at Lowe's. So yeah, I think they're the only ones who carry it. So if you go to Lowe's.com and type in drywall tape, you should be able to find it. I was able to find it that way. This is matte medium, fluid matte medium, and I'm just using it to help that drywall tape stick down since it's not overly sticky. I'm going to be adding some more layers on top of it. I just didn't want that stuff going anywhere. Now I'm going in with some golden manganese blue, some ultramarine blue, which is Liquitex Basics, and I never remember what that blue, that greenish turquoise teal color is. It's also Liquitex Basics. And I'm just going in with a dry brush, and I'm just going back and forth adding in some different layers. I kind of took my cues on color from the colors on the book that were already there. And you can see how messy it was. That's the reason that I don't decorate my journals before they're done, because you end up setting them in a lot of messy areas. So I didn't want to take the chance of messing up my cover. So that was the last thing I did in this. And again, just going in, adding different layers. This was a very, very long video to edit. It was, I think, well over 2 hours it took me to create this. So, you know, there were about 2 hours of footage that I had to trim down and, you know, edit. So, I got it down to 16 hours. What I did was, a lot of times if I did something on one side of the page, I didn't show you the other side. I didn't make you sit through the whole thing. Because if I did it on one side, you could figure out how I did it on the other side. So, I'm just going back in with that color. And dear God, for the life of me, I cannot tell you what the name of that color is. Let's see if I can walk over there. It is, okay, I'm going to knock over all my paints in the process. I have them on a Lazy Susan, but it's so full that I just knock them over all the time. Okay, bright aqua green. That's Liquitex Basics. So again, I'm just going in, adding little layers here, layers there, just trying to pop some of those colors, blend some of them in places. Really like that manganese blue. It's a really good color. Got my first golden paint colors the other day. I got 2 of them. They were both fluid acrylics. I got that manganese blue and I got nickel azo gold. Aaron Brothers had a 60% or 60% off coupon, I think, and I used it for the nickel azo gold, which is normally $10 for 1 fluid ounce. That's why I don't buy golden. It's so expensive, but ooh, they're luscious. Really well pigmented. That's an iCAD, and I actually finished that and posted it on Instagram the other day. So I really like how that one came out. So if you're not following me yet on Instagram, please do. I'm easy to find. It's Imperfect Impulses. And here's the nickel azo gold, and I went in with a little bit of glazing fluid. And I'm just going to cover the whole thing with the nickel azo gold. Also, if you're not on Instagram but you do want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook. I created a page, and it's called Imperfect Impulses with Aaron. I have a few people on there right now, and that's one of the best ways to get questions answered. YouTube is so difficult to respond to all the comments. They just don't make it easy to do. And I'm not always sure everyone gets my responses. So if you absolutely have to, please feel free to leave a comment in the YouTube section. There's no guarantee how quickly I'll answer, but Facebook is usually pretty quick my response time. So feel free to head over to Facebook and like me there so you can chat with me. And what I did with this was what Donna Downey has done on Inspiration Wednesday, just let it sit for about a minute or so and then started wiping some of it up with the baby wipe. I didn't want to remove all of it. She tends to remove a lot, so there's just a little tiny bit peeking here and there in some of the texture, and I wanted some of those colors to be more green. Not all of them, obviously. I wanted some of that blue to pop through, but I don't know, I was just liking that color combination, so I didn't want to wipe off too much. And then in the mesh, it kind of puddles up in the mesh because it was a fluid paint anyway, and then I added the glazing liquid, which made it even kind of runnier. So I just pounced using the baby wipe to get up some of those pools of color. Just doing some touch-ups. Alright, so this is, I want to say it's the FW Pearlescent black fluid acrylic. And then I'm just spraying it down, getting it to run and drip. I was liking this page, but it needed some major imperfections. So I like the black drippies. Adding a little bit more. Alright, so obviously I did that to the other side as well, which you guys did not see. But yeah, so both sides are done. Now I took these Tim Holtz grunge board letters, and I am covering them in Titan Buff paint. I wanted something that would contrast against the color, so I wanted to go a little bit lighter, but I didn't want like white or yellow, so I wanted this nice neutral tan color. So I'm just using my tweezers just to hold them because my big thick sausage finger German hands they're not conducive to holding little things like this, so tweezers are good. Well, this is longer than it should have been, huh? I think I sped it up like 4 times, so yeah. Sorry about that. So I painted them. There you go, minute and a half. Hope you fast forwarded through that. Alright, so now I'm using brown archival ink and this script stamp just to give them a little bit of texture, visual texture. So since I'm stamping on top of acrylic paint, you have to use something permanent, and this is a pigment ink. It'll dry on top of the acrylic paint and won't budge if you add anything else over it. So then once they were dry, I'm taking a really rough nail file and I'm just scratching up the sides, sometimes in the middle. I just really wanted to grunge up these letters, make them look really old and funky. So I'm not going to make you watch all of those letters being sanded down, but that's what I did, just randomly around the sides and again sometimes in the middle. Then I took Distress Ink Rusty Hinge. Sounded like the Swedish chef there. Then I took Distress Ink Rusty Hinge, and I am just mashing the color into all the raw areas where the emery board had scuffed them up, because that's what's going to soak up the paint or the ink. And then what I did was I took a baby wipe and wiped off the excess that's on the acrylic paint, so it just left the scuffed up areas orange. So now I'm just taking some ripped up book pages again with the Rusty Hinge and just inking them up, trying to figure out what configuration I liked and making them kind of dark. I wanted that orange to really contrast against the colors in the background. Then using some fluid medium to put these down. The nice thing is, even though there's all that drywall tape, it didn't pull up the texture too much, pull through the paper. So this is a Neocolor too. I want to say it's burnt umber, raw umber. No, it's not raw umber. I don't know. One of the dark colors. It's kind of gray, kind of brown. And I'm just going around the inside just to create a little bit of a grungy type of shadowy look. And then this is a Stabilo All pencil. I'm going around all of the edges. And this I'm actually doing right around the outside of the paper. Sometimes I hit the paper, sometimes I didn't. But it created a shadow. It made it more dimensional. Well, that could have been cut out. Told you, 2 hours of footage. It took me a long time to edit this, so yeah. Now this is just a water brush, and I'm just using it to activate that Stabilo pencil, and it makes it darker, and it makes it so you can move it around since it's water soluble. So I really like this for this technique. I learned this from Packer Dye. She uses that Stabilo pencil a lot, and I'm like, ooh, I have to have one of those. So then I got one of them. They're cheap. I got it at Blick. It was like $1.50 or something. For what it does, I think it's really relatively inexpensive. I was going to say reasonable, but I didn't know if you'd appreciate my alliteration. So there, I left this footage in to show you that I did all of them on the right, and then just show you the difference between the ones on the left. The ones on the left have been glued down but hadn't been done yet. So I sized my journaling, or my my words, using, or just setting them on the book page, and then using a piece of Scotch tape on top to pick them all up, and then straighten them out, and then put the glue on the back of the letters, and then use the tape to set it all down, and then pull the tape off. So that was a really easy way of keeping everything where I wanted it. And keep in mind that this letter set, it's not one font, it's multiple fonts, so that's why it still looks kind of wonky. It's supposed to look kind of wonky. So there we go, ripping off the last of that tape. And then again, just took my Stabilo All pencil and just went and created a little bit of drop shadow around most of the letters. I think I did all the letters. Again, just trying to create a little bit of dimension, a little bit of contrast against the background. Even though some parts of the background are black, the parts that aren't black, it creates some nice contrast. Again, just activating it with water and kind of smearing it out a bit. Okay, so here I am using Distress Crackle Paint, and let's see what the color is. Oh, I'm going to drop stuff. I do that a lot. I drop stuff. I don't really like these metallic Distress Crackle Paints. I like the clear rock candy. This is tarnished brass. They don't crackle as well as the rock candy, but I figured I had it, and it provided some good contrast for this page, so yeah, why not use it? And just so you know, up the spine, in previous videos it had not been bound with anything, the actual spine of the book. It was just hand sewn together. I actually put a piece of white duct tape up and down the center just to keep everything together because it was starting to get really thick. And so it didn't stick to the signatures. What I did was I put it on both sides of the book and then put some baby powder down the center of it so it didn't stick to the actual signatures. Just I wanted to keep those, the front and back together, and to keep all the stitching in place. So here I took a piece of, this is a piece of drop cloth from the hardware store is just essentially canvas, raw canvas, and I did some stitching up and down the sides. I folded the sides in and then did some stitching up and down the sides with my sewing machine. Then I'm taking one of the browns in my Neocolor 2s and I'm just coloring this canvas up. When I'm using canvas, I like to use my craft iron, not my heat tool. So difficult to talk sometimes. And here I'm doing nothing. Oh, here we are. Okay. So I'm using archival ink in brown to, I think it's sepia is the name of the color, to stamp this Viva Las Vegas Stamps background Harlequin stamp. This random piece of duct tape in the middle is, I had sized the book while it was drying with the crackle paint, so I had sized the spine to know how long I needed to make it, this fabric spine that I'm going to put on it. So I just stuck it down onto my craft sheet so I'd know how long to make this. And then I just cut notches into the ends after I folded it over, and then glued it down using my Fabri-Tac, which is a fabric glue, so it's made for this. Alright, so I am stamping now. ABC right up and down the spine. Just using a giant distressed font. I have all my things saved in CD cases, so I never know who makes them, or, well, sometimes I do if I remember, but I don't know who makes this font. But I liked it. It was cool and funky and distressed. And I used, I think, VersaFine for that. So I wanted to get a pretty good impression, and I didn't really get that good of an impression because I'm stamping on canvas, so oh well. I'll go ahead and fix it. It's meant to be funky anyway, so I am taking my Stabilo All pencil and just filling in the letter and then activating it with water. What that does is it, again, activates it, it spreads it out, and then actually makes it sink into the fabric. Now, I don't believe this would be permanent, but I have no intentions on putting my art journal in the washing machine, so I'm not too concerned about it. Really love that water brush. I was very hesitant to buy one because it's a paintbrush with water, but it's very convenient to not have to dip into water, and buy for $10, use your coupon. Michaels carries them now, so yeah, use your coupon. Once that was done, I took my white Montana paint pen and just went around the outside. I went around it very sketchily because I wanted this to be imperfect. I wanted it to look old and kind of grungy and faded. I didn't want it to be pristine and brand new, and so you can tell I'm not going perfectly on the lines. I'm just kind of making a mess. And that's okay, because it comes out exactly how I wanted it. Old and funky and grungy. So I'm using my distressing tool from Tonic and Tim Holtz, and I'm trying to scratch up these sides and make them frayed a little bit because I had sewed the two pieces together. So it's hard, and now I'm off frame. So, but I was using my scissors to scratch up the sides as well, and then I actually like dug into the side to make it tear a little bit and snip little bits and bobs off. Yeah, that footage could have been cut. That's okay. So see, I was cutting and just trying to make it really imperfect. And then when I glue it on, I actually just glued it on the sides, on the very far right side and the very far left side of the canvas. You don't want to glue right in the middle because then it'll buckle every time you open it. You want to have some wiggle room. So that's it. That is the whole ABCs of Art journal. Coming up next is going to be a flip of the entire journal. So I hope you enjoyed the cover and the making of this entire journal. If you've been here and watched the whole thing, I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'll see you for the journal flip.